Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Tonight we got some more good stuff for you. We're going to be talking about magic mirrors from this book right here from Franz Bardon, Initiation into Hermetics. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So if you want, you can go back and read the, or watch, well, I'm reading, watch the other two episodes of Magic Mirrors, because magic mirrors are fun and they're interesting, and it seems like you can do a lot with them, and most people hold one in their hand all day long, as we know. But tonight we're going to be reading about that, and I want to thank you all for coming along for the journey. And so joining me right here on this channel, taking your precious time to check everything out. So let's get right into magic mirrors. And of course, like always, I got good things to share with you as usual, because you don't want to look at my ugly mug. You want to look at something else. And there we go. The magic mirror. Wonder where that came from. Is that what you're expecting to see when you look in the magic mirrors? I don't know. Let you be judge of that. Okay, the magic mirror as an instrument of defense against harmful and undesirable influences. Undesirable influences. Okay, and here we thought it was the mirror all along. No, the mirror is just a tool. The magic mirror can also be employed as an instrument of defense. However, an impregnation of the mirror's emanating power changed accordingly. The impregnation of a room or an area, a place or a house which is to be protected, has to be loaded with the emanating power of the light in such a manner that the light rays will prevent all undesirable and unfavorable influences from entering, or else directly return them to the point of origin. Should you be dealing with negative influences, then you employ light impregnation. However, if you wish to insulate the room or space from positive as well as negative influences, then the impregnation of the mirror or the room is respectively loaded with the akasha and the attributing the untouchability and terribility or imaginative transfer into them. Remember, you're imagining, and that becomes reality. As we learned in the episodes before. Okay, you're transferring that imagination to the mirror. As mentioned frequently before, an accumulation is impossible when working with the Akasha principle, because the Akasha principle cannot be accumulated. However, the wish impregnation with the aid of the imagination can be repeated frequently for the purpose of dynamic effectiveness. It is left to the magician's discretion to prepare as many mirrors as he requires for the variety of purposes. Means you can have more than one mirror. Go figure that. We will turn the page. You have one mirror, a big mirror, talk to the mirror. There you go. The magician cannot insulate his room with the Akasha if he is working with teletransmissions and telereception. Get how they're saying tele like a telephone. So they did have telephones years ago, and they were just called magic mirrors. Telereception, because it would prevent most transmitting and receiving details in regards of warding off hostile influences and insulation of particular places with the aid of the magic mirror for the purpose of working undistributed with when performing magic procedures, can be found in the second work, the practice of magic evocation. Besides the possibility of employing the magic mirror as an instrument of defense, there are other advantages. Namely, one can utilize and practically employ for the mirror magic as well known fluids, the magnetic and electric and electromagnetic, the kinds of different powers or energies which are required for each individual instance depends upon the work and the kind of effect the magician wish to have. Now, doesn't that sound fun? Get right on that. The magic mirror as a mechanism of projection of all energies, powers, and forces, beings, and pictures. Ooh, I like that. Okay, next chapter here. The magic mirror can also be employed to condense all the energies of the mental and the astral planes to such a degree that they can even be perceived by people who are not magically trained. When we are not dealing here with mere illusions and suggestions, but with condensed thoughts, elementals, and tight entities of all planes, entities of the elements, which are the result of the practices in this book. They can be condensed in the mirror to such a degree that a photograph can be taken. Now follows the practice. The surface of the mirror is loaded with the condensed earth element. However, in the instance, you do not accumulate the earth element in your body first and then project it into the mirror, because that could cause paralysis. Instead, you accumulate the earth element directly from the universe through the imagination onto the surface of the mirror. The more intense the accumulation of the earth element, the more condensed the visible will be in the appearance of what we wish to project. It is therefore advisable to repeat the accumulation of the earth element several times. You should now have the wish to make a concept, an idea, a picture, or an elemental visible to another person, perhaps one who is not magically trained, to such a degree that it can be clearly perceived, then proceeded follows. Well, look at that. You can perceive into the mirror and project it into reality so somebody else can see it. Direct the Akasha principle with the aid of the imagination, either only into the head of the person or, if you wish, the entire body. And during this procedure, limit the Akasha principle effectiveness in the person only for the duration of the experiment. Should you be dealing with a concept, an idea which you wish to make visible, imaginatively place the pictures or concept upon the surface of the mirror with such clarity and distinctiveness as it were reality. Have this concept remain on the surface of the mirror. If the person who has been influenced with the Akasha principle observes the mirror, he will see your concept as if he were watching a movie. The same results can be achieved in a similar manner with elementals, elementaries, schemata that you yourself have created. However, when you call a being from the astral plane or any other plane, you must first fill the room where the being is to appear, or at least the area around the mirror, with the Akasha principle. It is, of course, much more advantageous to fill the entire room with the Akasha principle. The preparation would not be necessary if you had a second mirror, which would be entrusted with the impregnation of the Akasha principle for the particular room. When these preparations are completed, place yourself in a trance, including the Akasha principle, into yourself. And while in this state of trance, call the particular being which inhabits either the astral or some other plane, as long as you have not mastered the practices of evocation magic described in my second work, the practice of magical evocation. Be content when calling the departed from the astral plane, which is accomplished with the aid of the imagination. And here is a guy, and who do you think this is? Nostradamus? Nope, this is John Dee. John Dee. And who was John Dee? John Dee was a magician for the Queen. He did a lot of things. He's also known as maybe the first 007. You know? Anyway, he did a lot of things. Very smart man. Basically, the Queen's magician. Probably, who knows? This guy was super smart. He could do pretty much anything. Anyway, let's go on from there. By virtue of the accumulated earth element that is present on the mirror, the pictures or beings materialize to such a degree that they can only be seen, or they can be seen with the physical eyes by a magically untrained person, and they can also be heard. That which is seen is not a hallucination, and as mentioned before, the magician can even photograph the picture that is condensed through the earth element. But one very important fact has to be taken with consideration. Pictures that are condensed in this manner have a far higher level of vibration than our normal light. Naturally, these higher oscillations cannot be captured photographically because they do not correspond to the light oscillations. When you take these types of photographs and exposures, time should be the shortest possible. In other words, the shorter shutter time your camera provides with photographs of this type, it does not matter if it's day or night or if the mirror is illuminated or in darkness. Should you, however, want to capture the mirror and the background, then you will need a proper illumination. Otherwise, the only thing that you can capture on film is the materialized picture in the mirror. For the experience, it is preferable to use a camera with a photosensitive plate, since the vibrational frequency of these particular pictures is greater than the frequency oscillation of light in the physical world. Color filters have been used when taking these types of pictures. When taking photos of this type, the following color filters should be used. Blue filters for the mental plane, violet filters for other beings, departed humans, ruby red filters for beings that consist of only one element, yellow filters for photographs of natural phenomena, which other forces in nature. These color filters are analogs as far as their color is concentrated and we're on the different planes. Okay, next chapter, magic mirror as a television set. See, I told you people, you can go to the television set, turn it on, and there you go, a real magician making real stuff looking into the mirror. In our magic mirror, we can view events that occur to people that are known or unknown to us, even at a greater distance as usual. For this purpose, the mirror is loaded with the Akasha principle. Once that has been completed, remain in the calm and comfortable position and induce through the Akasha state a trance. From this Akasha state, concentrate upon the particular person whose activities and behavior you want to observe. While you are concentrating on that person, think of that magic mirror in the big telescope through which you can see everything, even at the greatest distance. Immediately, just as a movie, the magician will see the person as well as the surroundings. In the beginning, these pictures will be a little distorted, but after frequent repetition, frequent use of this exercise, these pictures become so clear and the feeling that the particular person is in one's immediate vicinity so convincing that you assume you are standing directly next to the person you wish to see in the picture. Even if the distance were 1,000 miles, it would be of no consequence. For the purpose of verifying the authenticity of what is being viewed in the mirror and whether it corresponds with reality, you can imagine the same person engaged in different activity. Now employ your astral senses. Should you succeed in seeing the particular person's new activity as clearly as an activity in the mirror, then what you saw in the mirror was a deception. Therefore, this exercise has to be repeated until you can distinguish facts from illusions. In the same manner, if he or she wishes, the magician can allow an untrained person to teleview. Under this skillful guidance, take into consideration all the practices described here. Magicians who are especially trained and experienced in the field of magic will be able, even from the greatest distance, to take photographs of the events and pictures seen using a red filter. If you are not concerned with the material or physical manners and more concerned on examining from a distance events that occurred in the present, such as a person's emotional life or soul life, his character and his feelings, then all you have to do is not think about that person's physical body at all and only imagine his astral body. Soon thereafter, you will see the aura and the character traits of this particular person in various nuances of color, which you can draw logical conclusions as to the person's character abilities in accordance with the laws of analogy. Should you not be interested in the person's physical activities or his astral attributes or the character traits, and you merely want to view the spirit of the person in the magic mirror, then do not think of this physical body or his astral body at all. And in this instance, as well as the pictures that correspond to the spirit will appear to you, and you can follow the train of thought or ideas of the person even from the farthest distance. As you can see from the affirmation examples, it is possible to read the thoughts of any person even from the farthest distance. To what degree you wish to pursue the mastery of these abilities depends, however, entirely upon your will. Well, there you go. Look at that. You can read their thoughts, see their abilities, see their astral body, all through that magic mirror. Magic, magic, magic. Okay, next chapter. The magic mirror as an aid to study the past and the present and the future. Wouldn't we all like to know the future? Yes. Maybe not. The exact study of the past, present, and future of other people is one of the most difficult tasks when working with the magic mirror. The magician's own past and present can also unfold in the mirror, like a motion picture, though undoubtedly he should refrain from allowing it to do so. If the magician wants to satisfy his curiosity and find out what the future has in store for him with the help of the magic mirror, it would not be difficult for him to focus on his attention on this matter and to find out every little detail as to his future. There is, however, a drawback. The moment the magician views his future in the magic mirror, he will deprive himself of his free will. He could be compared to an empty shell that has been filled without any possibility that anything could be done for or against it. Sorry about the dog barking. But that happens, you know. There, we cleared that. Sorry, we're trying to do our best here. It is the course of an entirely different matter when the Akasha principle, in the highest form, which we shall call divine providence, gives the magician warnings of impending danger, in whatever form they might be, without the magician making any effort of his own to see into the future or to ascertain any information pertaining to his future. I wonder if it's so, so if you could see your future, you've taken away your free will. But just because you've seen your future, does that mean that we don't have any free will? It's kind of like if the tree falls in the forest, does that mean it didn't make a sound because there was nobody to hear it? That's the thing. So do we really have free will? That's a topic for another episode. When the magician receives such a warning, he should comply with or without question, because any failure to do so would cause him great harm. A magician who has reached this level of development will be able to determine whether the warning originated with a being, irrespective of its plane, or it's originated direct from the Akasha principle. The magic mirror is an excellent aid to help the magician to examine the past, the present, and the future of people who are not magically trained, but in whom the magician has a special interest, because all thoughts, sentences, feelings, and physical deeds are recorded in detail in the Akasha or causal principle. This enables the magician at any time to read in the Akasha as an open book, either through his magic mirror or directly while in the state of a trance. All the magician is required to do is to properly prepare himself for this task with the aid of the imagination. As long as the magician has not mastered this procedure, the pictures that appear will not intentionally follow a logical sequence or will appear sporadically. However, in due time and thought frequency repetition of this exercise, one picture after another will appear on the surface of the mirror, like a panorama, in the proper sequence of events. As far as the past is concerned, the pictures viewed are so clear and distinct that it is if the magician himself was experiencing these events. The magician can begin with the present and then unveil the past step by step, event by event, back to childhood and the time of birth. However, it is advisable not to pursue the past any further than to the time of birth, although it is within the realm of possibilities to pursue the spirit of the particular person beyond this time of birth to his previous incarnation. Ooh, that's like, past lives. The magician should be forewarned because of the if he obtains any information about his future or his future of other people as well as other people's former incarnations, the magician will accurately interfere with the laws of divine providence, and his curiosity would result in the dire consequences. First of all, in the instant he would be as old as all his former incarnations, which he has viewed, and that would result in having a very unpleasant feeling in his innermost. And in many respects, it would make itself unpleasantly known, above all, and will make itself known through his loss of all interest in continuing to live. So that means if you knew, if there, what are they saying? If you know that you have past lives and that you've lived and died before, that you would lose interest in living this life? Oh, that's something to ponder. Okay. Secondly, the magician will become responsible for the mistakes he made in his former incarnations, up to the point which he viewed in the Akasha. There will only be one advantage. He will be aware of the experiences of his former incarnations, but this will be by no means compensate him for his disadvantages. If the magician wants to learn something about the future of another person for a very particular reason, he has to do this in his place himself into a state of trance. Should the magician have acquired a great proficiency in this practice, then there is nothing that will remain concealed to him. The highest level a magician can attain when working with the magic mirror is the clairvoyant ability to view events about himself and other people in the proper sequence of the mental, astral, and physical planes. There is nothing I can add in regards to the employment of the magic mirror. Once the magician has reached this level of development, based on examples given here, he will be able to devise his own practices. Well, how about that? Let's go through some other of these pictures since I got them up. And this was a cool one. This was St. George slaying the dragon. And here's a magic mirror. Here's an inventor trying to use a magic mirror. They've been using magic mirrors for hundreds and hundreds of years in all nations. There's all kinds of different types of magic mirrors. Using a candle is popular. Black. They're seeing departed relatives inside the mirror. Ghosts. Are they ghosts? Ask yourself that. The Earl of Surrey, Beholding the Frere Geraldine in a Magic Mirror by Edward Henry Corbould on Hartnett. There you go. They did this hundreds of years ago. They didn't have an internet, they didn't have a computer, and they didn't have a television. Yet they could do this. It took a lot of time, but they did it. Magic mirrors in the Renaissance. Magician John Dee. Here we go again with John Dee. And there's the Queen. And he is making a potion or something to tell something to the Queen. You figure out what he's trying to do. There's your magic mirror. Get yours today. Anything will do. Well, there you go. Different types of magic mirrors and fun times ahead. Okay. Well, there we go. Another great night of interesting talk about magic mirrors. Well, get your magic mirror. Practice. Like I said, you get so good that you can take a picture of it. Most of it's using your imagination. And a lot of us, it's really hard to use our imagination anymore. Well, because kids use their imagination. Us adults, we think by logic. So it's really hard to imagine things. Imagining the world we live in, imagining different people in front of us. We're so used to having it brought to us through the television, through the radio, through, our cell phone. FaceTiming somebody. I don't know. If we can't remember our own phone numbers anymore, what's going to happen if we try to imagine something? Imagine somebody. Can we even use that part of our brain? Can you use your part of the brain where you can actually imagine things? Sit there in some sort of meditation and imagine the world outside in a different light. Bring that world into your house through this magic mirror. Well, go out and try it. Let me know. I would be very interested in knowing how your experience was. Remember, use the earth element. Try not to look too far into the past. Don't look at your own life and see the future and realize that it's set in stone. It's better to think that you got free will. Because if you don't, would you get depressed knowing that your life is already set out for you? No matter what you do, it will still lead you down that same road. Go back to the Matrix. Remember where the Oracle and Neo came in? The Oracle says, oh, don't worry about that vase that you're going to break. And then he turns around and he breaks the vase. Would he have broke the vase if she would not said anything? Now, ask yourself that. If you know the future, could you change it, or will it still happen? Or would you make it happen then? Well, I guess nobody knows. Well, with that, remember, go out, do something nice for somebody else. Say hi to the lady at the grocery store, or the bagger guy, or maybe the people at the gas station. Your neighbor, wave to him. I gave my neighbor 2 dozen eggs today, just because he's a nice guy. And there you go. Just because he was a good feller, I talked to him, I waved to him, went and spoke a few words. Seems to be pretty nice. And with that, I made me feel like a good neighbor, good person. I think that that 2 dozen eggs was well worth it. Anyway, without going on for a long time, remember, just go out and be that frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love y'all. Peace, everybody.